B is 1 over negative 3. So you can do 1 divided by negative 3. And of course, your answer is negative 1/3. That's your common ratio. Here it says, find the formula for the general terms for a geometric sequence. Here we have 2, followed by 6, followed by 18, and 54. Do we have a common ratio?
Yes.
Yes. What is it? Times 3. So from 2 to 6, we're doing times 3. From 6 to 18, we're doing times 3, and so on. From 18 to 54 is times 3. Now, to find the general formula, to find for the general term. So, if I want a recursive one, who can give me the recursive formula? In other words, I want an is equal to so the next term is 3 times the previous term, right? That's the recursive one, because in order for you to find A15, you need to know A14, right? Now, what if I want to go straight from AN to the last one? Meaning, AN is equal to what in terms of N? Represent the recursive formula. Now, we don't want a formula that forces us to know the previous term. We want one that is a general formula. So, who can come up with one that is general? Meaning in terms of N only, not in terms of another A something. In other words, let's go ahead and figure out what do we do to move from the first term to the second term. We do times 3, right? What about from the first term to the third term? Times what? Times 9 is times 3 times 3. What about from the first term to the fourth term? 27. It seems like everything can start from the first term and we multiply by 3 to the power of n. Let's see if it works. Let's go ahead and look for A. Let's look at the last one, A4. A4, according to my formula that I have here, is 2 times 3 to the power of 4. What's 3 to the... I need minus 1. It's to the power of n minus 1. I just checked it and it didn't work for n. So, let's go ahead and put 4 minus 1 is what? 3 to the power of 3 is 27 times 2?
54.
54. It works. Let's check for A2 to see if it works. I would say A2 is equal to 2 to the power of, 2 times 3 to the power of 2 minus 1. What's 3 to the power of 2 minus 1? 3 to the power of?
6.
The final answer is 6. But 3 to the power of 2 minus 1 is just 3. Times 2, 6. So this ends up being our general formula. So who can tell me exactly what the general formula is? Based on the example we did. What does 2 represent for this formula? For the A1?
A1.
Perfect. A1 times r to the power of n minus 1. This is general. I believe you will get this formula also on quizzes and tests. In pre-calculus, you do not get the formula. By then, we expect you to know it. All right, let's look at example 2. It says, find the formula for the n term of each of the following geometric sequence. The first term, the common ratio, and we're looking for A7. But before we look for anything, they ask us to find the formula for the n term. So, what do you think an will be here? An is equal to, do we know everything to write an? Yes, we do. What is the first term? 4. Common ratio is to the power of? You're going specific already. You're answering this question, which is right. You would therefore say A7 is equal to 4 times 2 to the power of 7 minus 1. You got to make sure that these two elements match on your paper. If you say If you say AN, N should be in the formula. If you say A7, 7 will be in the formula. You don't mix those, because earlier you were saying 7 here. So make sure these two are matching, because they asked us for A7 here. So this is equal to, use your calculator, 2 to the power of 6 is 64. 64 times 4. 256 is your final answer. Now let's look at B. B says A2 is 3.6, A3 is 10.8. We want A9. There's a way to get to it, just like remember on the arithmetic sequences, we were saying if I have A4 and I have A9, in fact, it's A4 plus how many D's we give you A9? A4 plus how many D's we gave 5 D's. It kind of works the same way here. Instead of adding 5 D's, it means that it's multiplying by maybe R to the power of 5. So here I have A2 and A3. So if I do A3 divide by A2, what do you think I would get?
3.
I will get 3 as an answer. But what letter do I need to write here? It's R. The common ratio is the term after over the term before. You get R. And here R is equal to what? 3. Now, a quick question for you. What if I say A9 over, pick A2 or A3? Over A3 is equal to what? Think before you answer, please. A9 over A3 is equal to what? Instead of 1/3 R, it's something else. R6. Remember, for the difference, when you subtract two things, you say plus 5D, plus 10Ds. This one, because it's a geometric, we do is to the power. This one was to the power of 3 minus 2, which is 1. This one is to the power of 9 minus whatever the subscript was on the bottom. 9 minus 3 is 6. You get that? And if you don't get it, think about this. You have A1, A2, A3, A4. Let's say this is a sequence. To move from A1 to A2, you multiply by the common ratio, right? From A2 to A3, you multiply again by a common ratio. So from A1 to A3, you multiply by the ratio squared. You understand that, right? From A1 to A4, you multiply by the ratio cube. Why is it cube? 4 minus 1. Why was it square here? 3 minus 1. So if I say A4 over A1, I get R to the power of 3, because it was 4 minus 1. If I say A9 over A3, I get R to the power of 9 minus 3, which is 6. From here, I can go ahead and plug in the value. I know what A9 is. Do I know? No. I know what A3 is, and I know what R is. So I will say A9 over A3 here is 10.8 is equal to 3 to the power of 6. And then I cross multiply. Go ahead and use your calculator and tell me what A9 is. It's 7,873.2. Huh? I know it is, but it's way better when you if you fully understand what you did on Friday. This is very easy. Let's look at C. C is a little different. Actually, it's not. What is the first thing you think I would find here? The common ratio. Again, you gotta have that common in your mouth, because if it's not common, it's no longer geometric. Just like the difference, if it's not a common difference, it's no longer arithmetic. So how will I find the common ratio here? A9 over A4. Don't tell me the answer here. is equal to R to what power? I'll be specific. Valeria, what's the power of R here? I know you already, yeah. You know it? Enrique, don't say it actually. I want Jordan because she's laying down on my desk. Jordan, what's the power of R? You don't? Enrique? What is it, Enrique? What is it, guys? Thank you, it's 5 because it's just 9 minus. I'll write 9 minus 4 so that you understand where the 5 comes from. All right, let's go ahead and write what we know. We know that a 9 is 0.0032 over a 4 is 10 is equal to R to the power of 5. So why don't we find what this is? Use your calculator to find this one. It's 0.00032, right? Is equal to R to the power of 5. Is that what y'all got?
Yeah.
That's what you, because dividing by 10 means move the decimal place 1 to the left. That's how I know it. Now from here we need R. What do you think I should do to get R alone? I will apply the, yes, but how do you call it? Don't just show me how to draw it. It's not the square root, but the fifth root. You just call it fifth root. So the fifth root means this on both sides. To put it on your calculator, make sure you do math. You press 5 and you put math something. 5 math 5, and you put that big, that small number actually. It should be 0.2. So R is equal to 0.2. Well, we just got R. We need a to the power of 7. Which two numbers will you pick? I like to pick numbers that are close to one another. So will you pick A4 and to go with A7 or A9 to go with A7? 9. Will A9 be on top or on the bottom? The top always, because the big number goes on top. Always the big subscript, not necessarily the big number. So I will continue it here. I would therefore say A9 over A7 is equal to R to the power of, Enrique, back to you. You better know this now. 2. There you go. R to the power of 2. So do we know what A9 is? What is it? 0.0032. Do we know what A7 is? So we keep it at A7. What about R? What is it? 0.2 to the power of 2. Now, let's go ahead and figure out what 0.2 to the power of 2 is. What is it? 0.04?
Yeah.
Good. Now, you understand that this is over 1, right? Why don't we cross multiply to make it easier on us? If I cross multiply, I get 1 times that 0.0032 is equal to 0.04 times A to A7. How do we get A7 alone? Divide by 0.04. And what is the final value of A7? Point what? 0.08. I trust you on this. Any question? No? Let's move on to something else. We're going to do Sn. Sn is equal to A1, open a parenthesis, 1 minus R to the power of n over 1 minus R. Now, what does n represent? The term. What does A1 represent? First term. What does R represent? The common ratio, not just the ratio. Common ratio. All right, let's go ahead and use this formula on example 4. I have 1.4, 2.8, 5.6, and so on. I'm looking for the first 9 terms. What is the simple fact that I see 9 terms? What information do I have so far? N. N is equal to 9. A1 is equal to 1.4. What else do I need? Ratio. How do I find it? I can do 2.8 over 1.4, and I will get 2. Is there any other way to find that ratio? Yes. What else can I do? There's only one more way on this specific one. I can do 5.6 over 2.8, and I should get the same thing. I can't do anything else because I don't have the term right until the 179.2. Just divide 2 consecutive terms, meaning 2.8 over 1.4 or 5.6 over 2.8. It will still give you 2. Once I reach this level and I'm looking for S what? Instead of N is S 9, because N is 9, is equal to A1, which is 1.4. You open a parenthesis, you put 1 minus 2 to the power of 9 over 1 minus 2. You know how to put this on your calculator? If you do, great. If you don't, watch me. So the answer here is equal to 715.4. Let's do it on B again. On B, we know so far, I need to know what N is. And what is N? 6. What is A1? Negative 12. What is the common ratio? Negative 18 over negative 12, which is, simplify. You can put that on your calculator, math fraction, or you can just look for the decimal value if it's exact. 1.5, is it exact?
Yeah.
So it's equal to 1.5. So since it's exact, we can use that. All we got to do now is plug in into the equation. S6 is equal to negative 12, open a parenthesis, 1 minus R here is 1.5 to the power of 6 over 1 minus 1.5. And you will get the answer. Negative what?
249.375.
Uh-huh. Is that what everyone got? Yes? Thank you. Good. Now here's another one. It's saying find S8. Now I feel like it's giving you easy stuff all over. Instead of giving you this one, I could have said A1, 2, 3. A3 is equal to 0.75. And I also say 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I say A5 is equal to 0.1875. And I say find S8. In other words, I'm giving you the exact same thing, but I'm not giving you all the good information. This is all I gave you. How will you find everything else? What would be the first thing to do? What was that? What's N? 8. What is the next thing you need? We need A1, and we also need R. What's the first thing you think we will find? R. It's going to be hard to find A1 without R. So let's find R. R is equal to, correct me here, because I just made a mistake. What's wrong?
That's 5 minus
3 over 5.
It's R squared. Because 5 minus 3 is 2. R squared is A5 over A3. So let's go ahead and put A5 is what? 0.1875 over 0.75. Why don't you do this for me and tell me what the answer is? 0.25. So what do you think R is? 0.05? 0.05. 0.5. Yeah, it's 0.5 and 0.5, same thing, right? Okay. 0.5. Let's see if we got it right. Actually, that's just R. Let's find A1 now. To find A1, I will say A1, or let's say A3 over A1 is equal to R to the power of 2. But we know what R squared is already. What is R squared? 0.25. So A3 is 0.75 over A1 is equal to 0.25. To be honest, you got to cross multiply and solve for A1. You end up with A1 is equal to 0.75 divided by 0.25. And what do you get? 3? Let's see if we got the right answer. You see that, right? So it's not, this one was easy because they gave you everything. Now we were able to figure everything out first before we can apply the sum formula. So we know that A1 is 3 and R is 0.5. Now we look for S8, which is equal to A1, 3, 1 minus R, which is 0.5 to the power of 8 over 1 minus 0.5. And you will use your calculator to find the approximate value of this. And what is it? 5.977. Is it equal or approximate? Good.